Properly service your brakes every single time. You want to make sure you use a wire brush on these, on your caliper brackets. I just say these in case you didn't know what these are. But anyway, so you just give it a little buzz, unless it's heavily rusted, but you want to make sure it looks like that. All the grooves are cleaned out, nice and shiny. That one's not yet, so I'm just going to buzz it a little bit more. It prevents your brake clips from getting rusted up on the edges, and it squeezes your brake pads, causing them to basically get stuck, and then they don't slide back and forth. And that's what happens, and that's when you start getting squeaky brakes. So what you want to do is just put a little bit of copper anti-seize right there. This will actually bond in with the metal. So silver anti-seize, it'll just dry up and get powdery, but copper anti-seize will actually create like a layer, almost like the Teflon on your oven pan. And so when it gets hot, that's what's going to happen. Yeah, it'll dry up, but it'll stay under the metal, so that way it keeps a non-stick layer on it. So just do that on all sides. Then what I do is I repeat the same thing after I put the clips back on, so that way everything's lubed up and it doesn't get all rotted and stuck during the winter time. You want to use grease because you don't want to use grease, because then that's when it collects all the dirt and stuff and gunk. With this, it'll dry up in no time. But yep, you just want to make sure it gets that little clip in there, that little click, I mean, so that it's holding in place properly. And this will work for all vehicles. So you want to make sure this is still clean. This has only got a little bit of dirt on it. If it had rust on it, I just changed the clips, because that's when these stainless steel clips are done. That's when they start getting rotted. Not all of them are stainless, a lot of them are steel when they got the black coating on, but when they're the silver ones that come out of the box, usually they're stainless and they don't rot that quick. But when you live in a salt state, everything rots. So you just do that. Clean up the edges of your brake pads. This is just servicing them. This isn't actually changing your brakes. This is just like when your brakes start getting squeaky and stuff. You want to make sure the lines right here, the water lines or whatever you want to call them, because it has a water runoff in there, so the water actually spits out when you're driving. Anyways, I'll get back to that in a second. Of course, you want to make sure that your slider pins are moving nice and easy, because if these are stuck, you got to heat this up with acetylene and get these off. So you just cut the rubber boot, heat this area up with acetylene until it's nice and cherry red. And you'll see all this, or until you start seeing flames coming out of the hole right here. I'll actually show you. You want to wait till flames start coming out of the hole right here when these are seized, and then that's when you know it's heated up enough for air to travel through it. That's when you can put a pair of vice grips on it, and then just loosen it up, move it back and forth, spray it, and then this actually works pretty well, the specialist stuff. But you can use motor oil, whatever, it doesn't matter. As long as it's oil, it'll get in there and it'll help loosen it up a little bit. But yeah, it's going to smoke a lot, so make sure you do it outside or in a ventilated area. And I'm just going to use some Silglide, because this is actually the best stuff that I use. Even this green stuff right here is actually really, really good. This is caliper grease. Yeah, it says brake parts lubricant, but that's what it is. It's for your calipers. This dark green stuff's really good, but the Silglide's clear. Well, whitish but clearish, and this is really good stuff. So what I do is I scoop some in there, spin it around, make sure everything's nice and good, make sure there's no high spots in it where it starts getting stuck. And squeeze it in there. There's gonna be stuff coming out, so I just go around the edge with it. It'll actually prevent dirt and stuff from getting into the boot, causing these to get stuck. There we go. That's what you want. You want your brake pads to move freely back and forth, because if you don't, they're just gonna get stuck, and then it's just gonna burn up your brake pads. So if your brake pads don't move back and forth in here easily, then that's when you gotta trim the edges of it or clean off the edges of it with a wire wheel. Right, so just to show you, this is what you want. You want your brake pads to move back and forth freely on your caliper bracket with the clips in it, of course. But this is what you want after you get done servicing it. If it doesn't do that, then that's where you gotta grind off the edge of the brake pad a little bit more, right along here. or you just gotta clean your bracket better. Sometimes you gotta use an angle grinder for it, but whatever makes it work. This is what you want. It's very minimal pressure. I'm just using my thumb. That's exactly what you want.